satisfaction you can get. This is built on blues. Built on blues.
Welcome back to Built on Blues. I'm your host, Graeme Bryks. Usually when a guest tells me they grew a construction company to 8 million, they say they took them 10 years of grinding. My guest today did it in 18 months. He launched Capital City Roofing in May of 2024, hit 3 million in his first 6 months, and is now scaling a licensed model that he swears is not a franchise. He's also the Chief Strategy Officer at BuilderLink, building the tech to run it all. I've got Brad Strawbridge in the studio. Brad, welcome to the show.
What's up, brother, man? Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you on. We got a lot to talk about. I want to go back to the start. You mentioned to me that you have a high IQ and you view your ADD as a superpower because it lets you hyper focus until you crack the code. When you left the corporate world and started Capital City, did that hyper focus kick in immediately? Did you just lock yourself in a room and map out this entire $8 million plan before you even sold a single roof?
So no, I didn't. And much like other ADDs that can relate to this, in the beginning, I very much was flying by the seat of my pants. But again, I kept that hyper focused by anchoring everything on the outcome, not the noise, right? And so from day one, in my mind, I defined to myself what would I need to do, what would be required from me personally to make sure that I was able to deliver what it would take to deliver a multi-million-dollar operations. And yes, it's a lot, right? I mean, we talk about systems, we talk about people, and then ultimately, if you're interested in scale, you've got to talk about repeatability, right? And so once I kind of had that mapped out in my mind, I decided that to make every daily decision in action that I made line up with that vision, right? And if it didn't move revenue, if it didn't protect margin or strengthen the brand or strengthen the machine, it didn't get my attention, right? I would hyper focus on those things only and block out kind of the rest, right?
Yeah, no, that's important stuff. And, it's interesting hearing that side of things with the ADD, right? Like a lot of people I feel like have a problem focusing on one thing. It's always like, I know for me personally, it's always like I try to focus on one thing and all of a sudden like I think of something different. And the next thing you know, I'm like working on a completely different task before I even finish that first task. So it's really interesting to hear how that actually benefited you in your business.
Well, and I'll tell you, Graham, one of the things that helps me with that, right, is because ADD, if you don't know how to kind of use it to your advantage, it could be a big detriment, right? You can't focus. Sometimes you're lazy, you procrastinate. Sometimes you get that decision fatigue or that analysis paralysis or whatever it is. But my hyper focus for me creates clarity because I use a system, and it's called EOS. I'm sure you've probably heard of it. It's based on a book called Traction, written by Gino Wickman, and it literally takes something as complex as running a business and it makes it as simple to understand and as actionable as possible, so that way you can stay focused on what truly matters.
No, I love that. I want to go into this anti-franchise model that you got going on here. You're launching a licensed model for Capital City, but you were very specific with me when we last talked about how this is not a franchise. For the guys listening who want to scale but is scared of giving up control or getting ripped off, what is the difference? How are you enabling these partners in Nashville and beyond to win without putting them in a franchise trap?
Yeah, so kind of the franchise trap, if you will, is that it feels safe, but it's expensive and it's restrictive, right? You end up paying high upfront fees, in terms of buying in or whatever that is, and then the ongoing royalties, and then you're locked into these decisions that you don't control. Our licensing model is fundamentally different. We license proven systems, tangible things, sales processes, AI driven lead generation, CRM workflows, operational SOPs, and, you know, without taking equity, without royalties that are extreme, and without stripping the owner of autonomy. So you're not renting a brand, you're installing a whole operating system. But that's the, you know, in a nutshell, the, you know, kind of what's different. But I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, at the end of the day, and kind of why this matters is most contractors, most business owners, they don't need a mascot or a script. What they need is actual systems that work in the real world. And, you know, we've built ours inside a fast growing roofing company and then kind of packaged that so that others can essentially skip all of the headache and the heartburn and the trial and error and wasting money on this and it doesn't work and wasting money on that and it doesn't work. We've already did all that. And now what we want to do and what my vision is to become the first real household name in roofing.
Yeah, no, that's inspiring stuff. I think you guys can definitely do it for sure, just because I like the way that you have this outlook on it. So, you know, it's going down to helping other roofers out there because obviously you got the track record, you got the 3 to 8 million. Like that's crazy. Not a lot of people can achieve that. I want to go into the science of BuilderLink. You integrate 10 to 12 different software tools into one. You told me you tried every CRM, you tried Roofer, Proline, and none of them talk to each other. For the contractors who are tired of this double entry data, can you break down the science of this new platform?
Yeah. Yeah, and so BuilderLink is a separate company than Capital City Roofing, but we are scaling in parallel essentially.
Hmm.
So BuilderLink is when people ask me, "Hey, what does BuilderLink do?" or "What is BuilderLink going to do?" The answer is everything. Because those other CRMs that you mentioned, like Roofer, especially Roofer, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic software. I love Roofer. I love it. It did an amazing job at what it does. And so, you know, I will always be the first person to give other companies credit where it's due. And there's some fantastic CRMs out there. However, you have to add other fantastic softwares to be able to do your entire job, like Company Cam. Company Cam's a great software, you know, and like Arrivy. Arrivy is a great software. But what we wanted to do is develop it all into one platform and not just by the way of opening up APIs and plugging it in or even, you know, building a pretty wrapper around it or, you know, trying the best that we can to white label a, you know, a high level or something of those like that. What we wanted to do is actually code all of this
Hmm.
ourselves. And my business partner, Sean, he's a wizard. That's the best thing I can say, man. He is a wizard. He told me, he said, look, if you can dream it, I can build it. And and there's actually, you know, me and two other really, really strong roofing company owners that are a part of this company, BuilderLink. And what we've done is we've put everything in one it's one login, it's one subscription. And what makes it special is it eliminates all the chaos between departments, right? You know, most contractors, like I said, they're running 5 or 6 disconnected tools, right? You've got your CRM here, you've got your production there, spreadsheets everywhere, and then people wonder why things fall apart. Well, BuilderLink brings alignment. You know, sales handoffs are clean, production is accountable, and leadership finally has a line of sight to everything in one place. You know, you can see, you know, margins and timelines and where are bottlenecks, and it turns the business from reactive to intentional, and that's what moves the needle.
Yeah, I really do preach on, you know, finding what those bottlenecks are and doing whatever you can every single day to move the needle. So if you guys are building obviously a system in place where you're able to see, either leads falling through the cracks or losing sales or, finding those bottlenecks, then obviously like it's going to be a great platform. And I'm definitely going to be recommending it to the roofers that I'll be talking to on these podcasts. You mentioned that for your licenses, you can handle the entire front and back office, answering phones, scheduling crews, filing warranties, sorry. That is a massive operation load. How are you handling that centralization intake right now?
Yeah, so we handle the front and the back office strain by separating growth from chaos. And what I mean by that is we don't wait for things to break. We build capacity ahead of demand before we need it. And so, we're able to, and we do that through systems and automations and clear ownership. And then, obviously when the volume increases, the process absorbs the majority of that strain instead of people burning out. Because the thing about, and that's why I like AI so much. And do I think AI will completely replace the human workforce? Absolutely not, because I don't think nothing will ever replace that personal human touch to the end user. Whoever your customer is, ultimately, most of them still want that warm and fuzzies that they get from dealing with a human being, right? But
For
what
sure.
we do is we take and recruit and train and find really good human operators, and then we increase their output, 5 to 10x by implementing different AI strategies into those workflows. And so, on the front end, speed to contact or speed to lead is huge, right? And the sales automation aspect of that, protects the revenue. So on the back end, production and admin are supported by those repeatable SOPs and real-time visibility. And then obviously alignment between the two keep service quality high. And service quality equates to customer loyalty and referrals and good reviews and everything else. So, it was a long answer to your question, but we we avoid kind of that strain by strategically finding people, because at the end of the day, we're all in the people business, right? And so finding good people and then giving them good direction, good support, and good tools to use to make their productivity better.
Yeah, for sure. I want to touch up on that human connection side. I completely agree where people will always want that human connection, especially if someone's giving you, a referral or a Google review, it always comes down to the human connection part, as well as like obviously the service and making sure that if you put up a roof, it's actually done properly and done well, but it all comes down to that customer service side of things too. I see a lot of people using AI for like the voice for answering phone calls and all that kind of stuff. I would say, I know you bring up your partner being a wizard, but you're also a tech guy yourself. You got the data flow, but what about the voice AI piece? I know a lot of people are still using like just when it comes to picking up a phone call, like they're answering it, but people are now integrating AI into the after hours side of things. So people do have time to, go home, talk to their families and like not always be work, work, work. Are you guys using the same platforms, but like system where if someone needs a phone call at late at night? Are you guys using any AI systems there to handle those?
Yeah, and that is in my opinion, that is the place that voice agents have currently, is for that. It's for after hours and it's for missed calls. So
Hmm.
instead of going to an answering service or a answering machine or leave a voicemail type situation, it will go to an AI agent, right? Because that's better than someone leaving a message. And then after hours, of course, because you can't expect to, especially small to medium sized business, you can't expect to hire human beings working around the clock. That would be expensive to do. And then if you were trying to kind of put your staff on a rotation, we still value work life balance for our team, and so we wouldn't want to do that. But as far as answering the phones from the beginning, I don't think the AI has evolved enough for it to be the first line. So human beings 100%, during normal business hours, we have a team of people that are answering the phone, real people. And then if they miss it, it'll go to AI. And then after hours, it'll go to AI. And I think that is definitely the strategy to use with voice agents currently.
Yeah. Which platform do you guys use, if you don't mind me asking? Is it all integrated into BuilderLink, or do you guys have a separate integration there?
It is. It's all integrated into BuilderLink, and it's actually a combination of different LLMs determining which kind of specialty or use case or task
Yeah.
that is being used for. And then we use Vappy for our voices, which are great voices. But it's definitely not an out of the box type deal. It's the agents are custom built.
Yeah, yeah, of course, because obviously you don't want one agent, like, because you can set a prompt for a single agent and you can try giving it this parameter and guidelines of like this broad spectrum where it's kind of, I feel like it's going to mess up rather than you have like one agent that's like specifically for customer service, the here keyword and like it's customer service. And then you have one that's like specifically on selling. And then you have one specifically on, booking or like kind of stuff. So is that kind of how you guys like model it, where it's like it's different keywords get sent to a different AI receptionist?
Yeah, and then also the AI can transfer the calls to
Yeah.
a team member, which could be a human, and it could just be another AI agent that specializes in that specific knowledge base.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love talking more about that kind of stuff. I find it fascinating, and I know other people are gonna as well. I want to move on to the feeding the future. I love that you integrated this nonprofit feeding the future project directly into your guys' business model. You don't fundraise, you self-fund. Does that purpose change how you hire? Do you find that guys work harder when they know that selling a roof is actually feeding a kid in their own community?
Mm, and so again, kinda going back to EOS, we hire based on core values, period. You could be the greatest roofing salesman or roofing project manager or whatever it is. You could be the greatest at that, and you could kind of be a crummy person and not share our core values, and you're not going to have a place on the team here at Capital City Roofing. And so when we hire people and we say, hey, this is our core values, this is our mission, this is what we stand for. And at the end of the day, we're interested in making an impact in our community, and we're interested in helping change the lives of families by way of supporting children specifically.
Hmm.
It changes everything. It gives people, everybody wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. Everybody wants to, I believe that every person inherently wants to do something good. And to be able to give somebody an opportunity or an outlet to do something good that's also convenient because it's where they work. It's a game changer. And then it even makes performance conversations easier to have, because if we have sales targets to hit and we're not hitting those sales targets, and my sales manager has to hold somebody accountable for that, the conversation isn't, hey man, I'm holding you accountable because we want to make a bunch of money. How else are we going to feed these kids if we're not generating the revenue that we need to be able to do it? And it's not, I don't really market it. I don't, I'm not obnoxious when I talk about it. I don't pat myself on the back for it. But at the end of the day, it is the most important thing here. Our 10-year vision for the company, when we do vision casting and we talk to the team about it, the revenue goal on there is great. Like, we want to do a very, very, very significant revenue goal in 10 years. But the thing that excites not just me, but the rest of the team is we want to feed 1 million kids that year. And that 10th year, we want to feed 1 million kids. And also we want to give away a roof a day. We want to be able to donate 365 roofs to families that can't afford to put a roof over their head. And those are the things that matter. When we think about legacy, and we think as entrepreneurs, when we think about building a business, if it's not about the money. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're in it for the money, I can guarantee you feel a void that money is never going to fill. But at the end of the day, if you're using that money and that success to do something good, that's legacy. And that's what Capital City stands for.
I love that. I think that's a really important message out there, especially for young entrepreneurs who are just seeing this side of the business for the money. Um, it's really not. You gotta find a purpose of what you're doing, and I feel like if you do that, you're gonna be way more successful than just trying to make a quick buck here and there and try to grow it for the money side. Like it's not that. And like you said, when it comes to legacy, building a legacy, I think is so important. And I love that you guys have this and this is what you guys are doing. And it's not just about helping roofers, it's about helping, kids, and it's also about helping people that can't afford putting a roof over their head. Like that's amazing stuff. Moving on to the next question, my favorite one to ask. If you had a magic wand and could erase one bottleneck in your business right now, whether it's finding the right partners or software integration bugs or just the chaos of rapid growth, what would it be?
So my bottleneck right now is that I have too many ideas. Uh, and in the EOS model, there's a visionary and an integrator dynamic, and I'm the visionary of the company. And then I have a fantastic integrator. His name's Edward, and he helps me take all my crazy ideas and implement them, but also try to organize them for later and say,
Hmm.
hey, this is a great idea, but we need to finish the other three that you thought about beforehand, right? And so it is probably not a bottleneck in real life, but it's a bottleneck to me because I'm super passionate about what we're doing here because I know that it's not just revolutionary in the sense of, a contracting company wanting to mix technology and philanthropy and package it all together in a pretty package, right? That's cool in theory and stuff, but like I'm passionate about it because we're doing it. We're actually doing it, and I just wanna do more, and, but that's okay, one day at a time, and we'll be able to make an impact, so, I guess the bottleneck would be just being patient,
Yeah.
being
No, I love that. The too many ideas, I feel like I'm in there right with you, where it's like that's where I really struggled when, starting my business was I think it took me 2 years to finally like kind of say fuck it and start my own business. But in those 2 years, I was always like, oh, which one should I start? Which business should I start? I had this idea and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go do this. But then another idea would come in my head. I'm like, oh no, that one's a better idea. And like go chase after that one and just be back and forth where I feel like you have someone in your corner to kind of like put their foot down and be like, "Okay, these are the ones that kind of matter, and then these ones are the ones that we can focus on later down the road." Because if you just have so many working on so many different things, like, is anything actually going to get done? So just like realizing the importance of, what are you going to do that day to actually move the needle or move the bottleneck, um, is really, really important. We're coming close to the end of time here, so I got one last question for you. You grew fast because you focused on systems, not just swinging the hammers. For the roofer listening who is stuck at 1 million and doing everything himself, what is the first system he needs to build to get to 5 million? Is it sales or is it production or, working with your guys' new platform there?
it really is the organizational and the technology piece. I still meet a lot of roofers and that are not using a CRM. Some don't even have a CRM, and some are on Google Sheets, and some are just on like ledger pads, and you can't do it. Like it's not possible. It's humanly not possible to remember all of this stuff and recall it and organize. It's not possible. And so I would say find people ask, hey, what's the best CRM? The best one is the one that you're actually going to use. Right. And so my advice, my unbiased advice is demo all the CRMs that are available and ask to demo them again if you need to, and then make a decision with what platform you feel more comfortable navigating. And don't be too proud to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help? And any reputable company is going to have a decent support system to be able to help you learn that. And then if you wanna join the best one, just join ours. And you could join Capital City Roofing completely, or you could
Yeah.
just use BuilderLink as a software. We've got options for you.
No, that's awesome. Well, Brad, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to, give us the insight of Capital Roof and, everything that you guys are doing. I've loved hearing all you guys' stories and, exactly what you guys are doing and your guys' missions for this year. For anyone who wants to partner with Capital City or check out the tech, where should they go?
Yeah, for Capital City, just go to capitalcityroofing.net. And then BuilderLink is BuilderLink, and link is spelled LYNC, BuilderLink.
Okay, awesome. I'll link everything up. And again, thank you for coming on. And to everyone listening, keep building, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.
Thanks, man. See ya.
Sweet.